There's a couple in Austin who look exactly like the people you're supposed to envy. He's in tech, she's in marketing, and together they pull in just over $200,000 a year. They have the modern house, the two newish SUVs in the driveway, the vacations that photograph well, the kids and activities that cost more than some people's rent. By every visible measure, they made it. They are, on paper, in the top several percent of earners in the entire country. And yet, if their two incomes stopped this month, they would be in serious trouble within about 5 weeks. Not 5 years, 5 weeks. They have almost nothing saved that isn't already spoken for, a frightening amount of it owed to credit cards, and a net worth that, when you actually add it up honestly, is barely positive. They earn a fortune. They own almost nothing, and they have no idea how they got here. This isn't a story about one careless couple. It's about a pattern so common it has quietly become the default for an entire class of high earners. The assumption almost everyone carries is simple and reasonable, that a $200,000 income solves money. Hit that number, and the stress is supposed to disappear. The cushion is supposed to appear. The future is supposed to take care of itself. The reality is something else entirely, and the data has been pointing at it for years. A staggering share of people earning six figures, well into the $200,000 range and beyond, report living paycheck to paycheck, carrying chronic credit card debt, and feeling financially anxious despite earning more in a month than many Americans earn in half a year. What you're looking at has a shape. Call it the secretly broke high earner. They make a lot, keep almost none of it, and wake up at 50 wondering where an entire fortune went. This isn't about judging anyone's choices. It's about understanding a financial trap that is almost perfectly engineered to catch intelligent, hardworking, well-educated people, precisely because they assume their income makes them immune. Let me show you exactly why $200,000 so often isn't enough, where the money actually goes, and how to know if you're already caught. Start with the number itself, because the first lie is the income figure. When someone says they earn $200,000, you picture $200,000 landing in their life. It doesn't. Between federal income tax, payroll taxes, and, depending on where they live, state and sometimes local taxes, a meaningful share of that money never arrives. Depending on the state, a $200,000 earner can take home somewhere in the neighborhood of $130,000 to $150,000 after taxes, and in the highest tax states, it's worse. Worth slotting in a verified current take-home figure for your audience's region here. So the very first thing that happens to the impressive number is that a third of it quietly evaporates before the person ever makes a single decision. They budget their life around 200 grand, they actually receive far less. That gap, by itself, breaks more high earners than they will ever admit, because they scaled their lifestyle to the headline number and have to live on the real one. Now layer on the mechanism that does most of the damage, the one that operates so gradually that no one ever catches it in the act. When income rises, spending rises to meet it, almost dollar for dollar. Economists call it lifestyle inflation, and it is the quietest wealth killer ever invented, because every single step of it feels completely reasonable. The starter apartment becomes the nice house. The paid-off used car becomes the least luxury SUV with a payment that never ends. The occasional treat becomes the default. Each upgrade is small. Each one is earned. Each one technically fits the budget. But the upgrades compound while the savings stay flat. And here's the cruel, mechanical truth underneath it. Once a luxury becomes a routine, going back doesn't feel like returning to normal. It feels like loss. It feels like failure. So the lifestyle only ever ratchets in one direction, up. The $200,000 earner isn't spending recklessly. They're spending exactly as much as they make, in increments too small to notice, until the entire income is committed and there is nothing left to build with. There's actually a name for this exact person, coined by financial analysts more than a decade ago. They're called Henrys, high earners, not rich yet. The category exists precisely because so many people discovered that a high income and actual wealth are completely different things. A Henry has the salary of a rich person and the net worth of a regular one. They have the spending of someone who's made it and the savings of someone who hasn't started. And the trap of being a Henry is that everyone around you, and often you yourself, assumes the not rich yet part is temporary, that the wealth is coming automatically, that the income alone is doing the work. It isn't. Income is what you make. Wealth is what you keep. And nothing about earning $200,000 forces you to keep any of it. This is where the truth becomes genuinely uncomfortable, because the people who actually accumulate wealth behave nothing like the people who appear wealthy. Decades of research into how millionaires actually live found that most of them don't look the part at all. They live in ordinary homes, drive unremarkable cars, and rarely display what they have. The classic study behind The Millionaire Next Door even gave us a way to measure it. Take your age, multiply it by your pre-tax annual income, and divide by 10. That number is roughly what your net worth should be if you're actually converting income into wealth. So a 40-year-old earning $200,000 should have a net worth in the ballpark of $800,000. Most $200,000 earners, when they run that math honestly, aren't anywhere close. They're not building wealth at all. They're just spending a large income and calling the appearance of money the same thing as money. The doctor leasing the luxury car looks far richer than the quiet tradesman with a paid-off truck and a 7-figure brokerage account. Looks and wealth are not just different. They're often opposites. Watch how the trap tightens, because at $200,000, the costs aren't frivolous. That's what makes them so dangerous. They're respectable. They're the kind of expenses you can defend to anyone. The bigger mortgage that builds equity. The 2 car payments because a household with this income needs reliable vehicles. Childcare or private school, which at this income feels less like a choice and more like a duty. The retirement contributions that exist but are smaller than they should be, quietly crowded out by everything else. None of these are nightclub bottle service. They're sober, sensible, adult commitments, and that's exactly why they're so hard to escape. Each one functions like a fixed cost the moment it's established. You can't easily pull a kid out of private school. You can't sell the house without it feeling like collapse. You can't downgrade the cars without it announcing to the neighborhood that something's wrong. The lifestyle becomes a cage made of reasonable decisions, and the bars are the very things that are supposed to signal success. Then there's the comparison problem, and modern life has made it brutal. A $200,000 earner is, statistically, doing better than the overwhelming majority of people in their country. But they don't feel it, because they're not comparing down, they're comparing up, and they're doing it constantly, through a screen. Social media has replaced the neighbor's driveway with an infinite scroll of everyone's curated highlights. The renovations, the trips, the watches, the homes of people earning twice as much or simply leveraged twice as deep. The $200,000 earner looks at the $500,000 lifestyle on their feed and feels behind, inadequate, like they're failing at money while earning a small fortune. So they spend to close a gap that isn't real, chasing the appearance of a level above them, funded by debt, to impress an audience that is doing the exact same desperate thing one rung higher. The goalposts never stop moving because the feed never stops scrolling. So let's quantify what this actually costs, because the abstract idea of you should save more never lands until you see 2 real lives split apart. Imagine 2 people, both earning that same $200,000, both taking home roughly the same after taxes. The first lives the full lifestyle the income seems to permit and saves whatever happens to be left at the end of the month, which, realistically, for most high earners, is a few percent at best. The second decides deliberately to save and invest 25% of their gross income, around $50,000 a year, and lets the rest fund a still very comfortable life. Both of them look successful. Both take vacations, both live in nice homes, both would appear identical to a neighbor. But run the clock forward. At a historically ordinary real return of about 7%, the second person's $50,000 a year becomes well over $2 million in 20 years, and north of $3.5 million in 25. The first person, saving a few percent of the same income, ends up with a fraction of that, a modest cushion that won't come close to sustaining the lifestyle they built. The difference between them isn't income. It's not intelligence, it's not luck. It's a single number, the percentage they chose to keep, and it quietly separates two identical paychecks into two completely different lives. Here's a way to find out where you actually stand, and it's uncomfortable on purpose. Forget your income for a moment, because your income is not the test. Ask instead, if your paycheck stopped tomorrow, how many months could you sustain your current life from what you've actually saved? Not from credit, not from selling things in a panic, from real, liquid savings. For a genuinely wealthy person, the answer is years. For the secretly broke high earner, the honest answer is often a few weeks, the same answer a person earning a quarter of their salary would give. If a $200,000 income and a $50,000 income produce the same number of months of security, then the income was never the thing protecting you. Your savings rate was. And if you've never deliberately chosen one, the default is almost always near zero, no matter how much you make. The escape route exists, but it requires confronting a question most high earners spend a lot of energy avoiding. What is all of this spending actually for? The couple in Austin earning $200,000 could almost certainly save $40,000 or $50,000 a year if they chose to. They earn more than enough. They simply spend at precisely the level that prevents it. Escaping the trap doesn't mean living like they're broke. It means living deliberately instead of automatically. It means deciding that the saving comes first, off the top, before the lifestyle gets a vote, because saving whatever's left after spending has never worked for anyone at any income. There is never anything left. Spending what's left after saving works every single time. So the move is mechanical, not motivational. Automate a real percentage of every paycheck straight into investments the day it arrives, before it can be absorbed by a lifestyle that will expand to swallow anything within reach. Then audit the fixed costs: the house, the cars, the subscriptions, the commitments that quietly devour the income, and ask of each one whether it delivers value worth its true cost, or whether it's just there to maintain an image for people who aren't paying attention anyway. Which brings us back to Austin, to the couple in the nice house with the 2 SUVs and the photogenic vacations and the 5 weeks of runway between them and disaster. They aren't foolish. They aren't lazy. They did everything they were told would make them secure. They earned more, a lot more. And they discovered the thing nobody warned them about, that a high income is not a financial plan. It's just a faster treadmill. The raises came, the lifestyle rose to meet every one of them, and the wealth that was supposed to follow automatically never arrived, because nothing about the income ever forced them to keep a dollar of it. They're not rich. They just look rich, which is the most expensive thing a person can be. The lie at the center of all of it is that more money solves the problem. It doesn't, and it never did. A $200,000 income with a 5% savings rate builds less wealth than a $90,000 income with a 25% one. The math isn't complicated, the behavior is. What you earn determines the lifestyle you can rent. Only what you keep determines the freedom you can own. And the difference between those two things is the entire reason so many people making a fortune are, quietly and invisibly, completely broke.